fire here in Millcreek at this apartment complex. What we can share with you is that we have upwards of 40 to 50 people that have been permanently displaced due to the loss of these two apartment structures behind us. Both of those structures have been evaluated by a building inspector from Millcreek, and they have deemed that those buildings are uninhabitable. So we're setting up a protection zone around them to keep people out, whether it's fire personnel or residents. They cannot regain access to these apartments, and hence everything in those are considered a total loss. Currently right now, in an effort to help these residents that have lost everything, donations are being currently accepted at Millcreek City Hall at 1330 East Chambers Avenue, which is 3250 South. Donation times are currently from 11 to 9 today and tomorrow, and then all next week from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can just drive on in and drop those off. They'll take clothing, hygiene products, and household goods. You guys have any questions?
Yes. Is there any more details on how it got started yesterday? What information are you able to share upon that?
Exactly what we shared yesterday, that there was some yard maintenance that was going on right there. A lawnmower hit a rock, sparked the fire, and with the conditions and the high winds, that fire spread rather quickly and into the apartment complex.
And do we know who was doing the lawn maintenance?
I can't speak specifically to that. I believe that information has already been distributed, but I don't want to misquote.
What's going on right now?
That's a really good question. Let's take a look. Right now, I believe that the fencing company is they're putting up that protective barrier right now. We have fire personnel that are on scene that are going to continue to monitor the situation, and if they have any type of flare-ups or hot spots that present, then they're going to address those issues. We'll continue to have fire personnel on scene throughout the remainder of today and all day tomorrow, because we have two different incidents. We have the field fire on the backside, and we have a team that's back there mitigating those issues with the vegetation and the trees that have been burned, and then also that with the structure. So we'll have fire personnel on scene for at least the foreseeable future.
And the other two buildings that had their utilities shut off and were evacuated, were they able to move back?
They're able to go back into their units at 3 p.m. this afternoon. There is one unit that doesn't have access to gas. They'll have that gas through Enbridge available to them on Monday, but both complexes do have electricity.
Go ahead.
Has it been verified that the lawnmower is the reason that the fires?
100%.
Any update on damaged shuttles?
No idea right now.
And is there any update when this is going to open back up for residents to get in?
3 o'clock. The unaffected buildings, those residents can return to their units at 3 p.m. Yep.
Can you just talk about more of what you saw yesterday? Have you ever seen anything like this in your career before?
I haven't seen anything like this. We had a very unique situation where we had high heat and significant winds, and so that dry vegetation that was in that field led, all it took was a spark, and it caught that field on fire and spread rapidly right into the apartment complex. The thing that was frightening about it was how quickly it got up into the rafters and lit the roof on fire, and that evacuation process, it's a miracle that none of those residents were injured or even hurt more significantly than what we experienced. Yesterday we had 4 firefighters that sustained injuries on the scene, but no residents sustained any injuries in that evacuation process.
Are those firefighters going to be okay?
They're fine.
As of right now, are all the flames out, or are we still having like pop-ups of the flames?
I wouldn't say that we necessarily have flames. They still have hot spots that they're working on containing, but for the most part, I would probably call it 90% contained. As soon as it's completely cleared out, then once we leave, we feel 100% confident that it's completely mitigated on our end.
What kind of injuries did they receive, the firefighters?
Just minor injuries, inhalation.
Can you talk about those initial moments? Because I imagine it must have been quite frantic, and from what we've heard from residents, firefighters were pulling people out really, really fast.
Well, that transition from an initial fire attack to an evacuation mode, that obviously life safety is paramount. That's our number one priority on any incident that we respond on. And so obviously when we transition into that, and there is that heightened sense of action, call to action to get those people evacuated, knowing that we have two different units, 12 each unit, and being thorough in our evacuation process. It's pretty easy when we're able to knock on a door and make contact with the resident that's there. Our bigger concern is when we knock on the door and we don't have somebody that answers the door that can verify to us, yes, we have 3 occupants in the house, we are all out. Those units tend to be a little bit more problematic and take a little bit more of a thorough search to ensure that we have everybody out of those units. But as you can imagine, it was an all hands on deck moment to make sure that everybody was out safely.
Yeah, it's good to hear that there was no loss of human life. Is there been any totals about loss of pets?
That it's undetermined right now. We have a significant number of pets, and we have talked with their owners to submit pictures and descriptions of their animals to certain websites that they can get their messages out right now. To be honest with you, I don't feel confident that we're going to get a large number of those pets recovered. But we are obviously they're taking the necessary steps in hopes that their loved one will return.
Are there any rules or safety guidelines for mowing and high temperatures? It seems like it's so easy for it to cause a spark.
I mean, I don't know that there are any type of city laws or ordinances in place in regards to yard maintenance or anything associated with that with high heat. I mean, I think it's probably more or less a common sense type of an approach. I don't know that I personally wouldn't have been mowing yesterday, but mow my lawn early in the morning or late in the evening because I don't like to mow it in the heat of the day. So I mean, you would probably have to speak with that individual more specifically, or the company that was doing that yard care.
Do we know if that individual called 911?
It was that individual. Mm-hmm.
It was, okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, great job. I mean, he recognized quickly that there was a fire, and obviously it was spreading quickly, and so it could have been significantly worse had that individual not initiated 911 and gotten fire crews there quickly. The speed at which that fire spread, I could almost definitively say there would have been a loss of life at those apartment structures for sure.
I imagine most people haven't been through an evacuation, may not know what it's like. Can you just kind of walk through how that works? I mean, obviously they bang on the door. If nobody comes, do they try to make entrance to see if there's anyone in there?
We do. Excuse me. We do make entry into those units. We want to ensure, until we can confirm that the unit is empty, we're going to do everything in our power to ensure that it is. And so that those units that we didn't get a response right away, we did make entry into those. I mean, we have a variety of different ways that we can gain access into those units, and we cleared the structure, and then we moved on to the next one. So it was as thorough and efficient of a process as we could conduct.
How fast did that go?
I couldn't even tell you. I wasn't on scene to witness it. I would assume that it was significantly fast.
And it sounds like there's no ongoing investigation or repercussions for the person who did.
Well, I can't speak to the repercussions. I know that the investigations have been completed by the ATF and by Unified Fire Authority's arson investigators. That report has been completed on their end, and they're looking at finalizing that documentation and submitting that report. But when we're talking the legal side of it, I can't speak to that.
Did you have to move cars out? I know there were a lot of cars on fire back there. Did you just leave them? Is that another fire hazard? How does that work?
Well, it's kind of an interesting thing. We're going to look at the size and scope of the thing, and we are going to obviously protect the biggest structures initially, right? And so we'll work in that respect. We're going to work inside out. Not that we're not trying to put the fire out on the cars, right? But we have a bunch of competing priorities at that time. So to say that we needed to put out the fire on this car versus the building, I think we're going to focus our attention on the building.
But you were also trying to keep a perimeter because there's a lot of houses around here, and it could have spread a lot.
Absolutely. One of the things that we're doing when we're initiating a fire attack is we're taking into account exposures. Exposures are a big thing, especially when we have a tight community like this and those older apartments so tightly packed the last thing we want to do is for it to be a 2-building fire that extends into 4, into 6, into 8. And high heat in close proximity like this, it very well could have. Now it didn't, but that's part of those tactics that we utilize in regards to stabilizing that incident. We want to ensure that those exposures are taken care of, as well as the direct fire attack on that property.
Do we miss anything? Anything else you'd like to add?
Hydrate. It is hot.
I had a question real quick. So the embers, did it catch that on fire over there on the west side?
I would have to think the answer is yes. I can't speak definitively to that, but I know that there was some fire suppression that went on east of this structure. We'll make the assumption that it was associated with this.
Thanks for all the hard work you guys do.
Anything else?
We have some information from Millcreek about how people could do financial donations. So if I could get our council member in here
Yeah,
to talk
if we
about that.
could.
Here, how about if we re-mic up when you guys can interview him, because I think that's an important thing to share right now, right?
Yeah, and just so people are aware, some news stations are live right now.
Oh, come on in. Here you go.
Come on in.
Here, I'll just hold these right here for you.
Thank you.
Well, no, I think that's so are people still shooting? I think mine are.
Here we go.
Okay, I'm Tom DeSiren. I'm on the Millcreek City Council. This is my district. First off, I want to thank all of our partners. Thank you so much, Cap, and everyone at UFA, as well as everyone at the LDS Church, the Red Cross, and Unified Police. They've been huge helps. I can't begin to think about everything that's happened to these residents who are going through the first steps of rebuilding their lives, figuring out what they still have, finding lost pets. I do want to say we've had a huge outpouring of help. People who have reached out to the city, who have reached out to us council members and staff personally, asking what they can do to help. I do want to say the best way to help these families is a straight up just cash donation. The city has worked to set up a donation portal. It's bit.ly/millcreekfirehelp. The city council is going to be meeting on Monday to appropriate additional funds to help these families. I've had a lot of people reach out to me personally and ask about specific items that are needed. The city of Millcreek will be accepting donations, but we do ask right now to hold off on taking anything to the city hall. We're still in the process of figuring out what families need. The last thing that we need is a massive raft of unneeded items that are just going to clutter these people's lives right now. So if you would like to be able to give some sort of in-kind donation, please email communications@millcreekut.gov. Our communications department will be reaching out later with specific needs that these families have. So again, we do want to thank our partners, and that's all I have right now.
Can you tell us what the immediate support is for the displaced residents, and what are the plans for temporary housing?
Yeah, right now, both the Red Cross and the LDS Church are working on finding some temporary housing. The Red Cross has put money up for a lot of these people, and I will say the property owner has also offered to go contribute money for each family who is out of a place to live. Okay, thank you. Again, that link for financial support for these families, it is bit.ly/millcreekfirehelp. And if you do want to contribute physical items, please email communications@millcreek.ut.gov. Millcreek communications@millcreekut.gov. Thank you.
We good? Perfect.